So who knows what SQL is? If you guys hear SQL, what do you guys think about? SQL이라는 단어를 들어보면은 무슨 생각 들어요? No idea. Okay, think about it. Squirrels. Okay, that's good start. Okay, someone thought about it as squirrels. Tables. SQL. Arguing pronunciation. Query. Yeah, I was actually gonna write pronounce. Summoner Queen League는 뭐야? 야, 진짜 그런 게 있어요? 자, how do you guys pronounce these? Okay, someone write SQL. Secure. Okay, secure. Secure. How do you pronounce this? SQL. Okay, someone writes SQL. 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 I say SQL. Oh. So actually there's multiple ways. So for people who's not used to streaming. Anyway, so let's talk about SQL. So SQL is a domain specific used in programming and designed for managing data held in a relational database management system. RDBMS. 왜 이렇게 복잡하냐? Domain specific language면 RDBMS design. Purpose is to design. Okay, guys, let me get some peppo G's. For stream processing in a relational data stream management system. Wow. Streaming the RDSMS. RDSMS. 그치? Okay. 그치. Or is it people? 페퍼 맞지? 포페지? 구독님, 포페지? It is particularly useful in handling structured data, i.e. data incorporating relations among entities and variables. So SQL offers two main advantages over older read-write APIs such as ISAM and VSAM. So who knows what ISAM or VSAM is? ISAM이랑 VSAM. Firstly, it introduced the concept of accessing many. I've never heard of them either. So ISM is like a method of creating, maintaining, and manipulating computer files of data so that records can be retrieved sequentially or randomly by one or more keys. VSAM is virtual storage access method. So they're both methods in terms of reading and writing old APIs. They're propriety of... we learned that word last time, Jetty. Yes. This is IBM's egg babies. Thank you guys. So originally based upon relational algebra and tuple? 야, 이거 what was tuple? 이거 맞아? Am I pronouncing this right? Relational calculus. Wow. SQL consists of many types of statement which may be informally classed as sub-languages, commonly a data query language, data definition language, and data control language, and data manipulation language. 아닙니다. It's like pair. 어서오세요, 소대님. Object, yeah. I guess so. It's like, it kind of remind me of Tuple. It's like a list. 한우 원뿔? 얜 투뿔? The scope of SQL includes data query, data manipulation, insert, update, and delete, data definition, and data access control. Although SQL is essentially a declarative language, it also includes procedural elements. So I'm thinking here when they say declarative language, it means that I think it's kind of like you say and you get a response. But it also can write in like steps, right? May I ask what course you're working on? Oh, I just like to talk about random programming language, and this week we got SQL. I actually learned SQL in my college classes, so I'm a bit familiar, but not with the history. 자, SQL was one of the first commercial language to use Edgar F. Code's relational model. The model was described in his influential 1970s paper. 1970s paper. Relational model. That is a good question, Angie. Of data for large shared data banks. Wow. So let's keep moving. 자, SQL became a standard of the American National Standard Institute in 1986 and of the International Organization of Standardization in 1987. Since then, this standard has been revised to include a larger set of features. Despite the existence of standards, most SQL codes requires at least some changes before being ported to different database systems. So what's the history? Let's listen to the history. So basically, long story short, SQL is database managing system. Right? In terms of managing, you can add in new lines, take off new lines, rewrite new lines, delete new lines, blah, blah, blah. So the history was actually initially developed by Donald Chamberlain and Raymond Boyce. Who knows who they are? In IBM. Hi, Astorato. IBM. Oh, they're British accent names. Donald Chamberlain and Raymond Boyce. Sorry guys, I tried my best. Donald Chamberlain. Oops, I can't spell my R. And who knows who they are? Anyone heard of them? Raymond. Oh, sorry, okay. Sorry. Data managing language. Thank you. Oh, Bojin, you're so smart. Boys. 자, after learning about the relational model. 그러니까 이놈의 relational model이 중요하네. Relational model. Because of relational model, they were able to create this language. It writes like you talk. That's true. But there's still a lot of steps to think about to get a certain type of code, I remember. 자, this version, initially called SQL, Structured English Query Language, was designed to manipulate and retrieve data stored in IBM original quasi-relational database management system, System R, which a group of IBM San Jose Research Laboratory had developed during the 1970s. Wow. Chamberlain and Boyce's first attempt at the relational database system was Square. Oh, it started as Square. Oh, really? Nice. That's really good. Just say the structured query language every time. But it was difficult to use due to script notation. 뭐라고 읽든 아무튼 드랍이랑 딜릿을 헷갈리지만 않으면 된다고 생각합니다. 맞아. That's a good question. I'm not sure. They didn't mention that here. After moving to San Jose Research Laboratory in 1973, they began working on SQL. So after they tried their first language called Square, they had issue with the subscript notation. So now in 1973, they moved to San Jose to work on SQL at the time. The acronym SQL later changed to SQL, as you guys mentioned, because of the trademark issue due to the UK-based Hawker Siddeley Dynamics Engineering Limited Company. Did you know that company in any of my UK interns? So after testing SQL at customer test sites to determine the usefulness and practicality of the system, IBM began developing commercial products based on their System R prototype, including System-R8, SQL/DS, and DB2. Oh my god, I have no clue any of those. Which were commercially available in 1979, 81, and 83. In late 1970s, relational software, now Oracle Corporation. Wow, Oracle actually started as relational software. 그러니까 이놈의 relational model must be a very important thing, guys. Because even these two people started off with the relational model, right, in 1971. And now the infamous company Oracle started off using a company name called Relational, right? So, saw the potential of the concept described by Chamberlain and Boyce and developed their own SQL-based RDBMS with aspirations of selling it. Is that right? Aspirations, right? Of selling it to the US Navy, Central Intelligence Agency. So in 1979, Relational Software introduced the first commercially available implementation of SQL, Oracle version 2. And now in 1986, ANSI and ISO standard group officially adopted the database language of SQL. So not only did they have a big contribution, I think also Oracle had a big contribution of making this language more standardized, right? So unfortunately, this does not have Hello World. Unfortunately, SQL, you can't get Hello World out because it mainly deals with data. So if the data has a name called Hello World, then you can take it out, right? So that's true. I guess, yeah, you can do that. That's true. That's true. So their version of Hello World would be that. I like that. I will keep that. Right? Oops, that's too big. So that is their version of Hello World. As you guys can see, they're very English based. I think if you don't, even if you didn't major in computer science or don't know the basics of language, you can still do SQL. It's one of those languages where you don't need background, right? Because look, you say you selected the hello world data, right? And it will return the hello world. Yeah, that's true. Let's say this is in Jinrico database. DB. Oops, that's a BD. DB. Jinrico DB에 들어가 있으면 이게 가능하다. So it's basically a sentence. Yeah, I think that's what I liked about this. Unless you go in deep. So remember a long time ago when I made SQLite. Oh, that's much easier. Maybe I should learn SQLite. 자, let's see any other interesting news about SQL. 자, syntax 뭐 자, reason for incompatibility. Several reasons for this lack of portability between DB systems include the complex and size of the SQL standards means that most implementers do not support the entire standard. The standard does not specify database behavior in several important areas, leaving implementations to decide how to behave. SQL standard precisely specifies the syntax that a conforming DB system must implement. However, the standard specification of the semantics of the language constructs is less well defined, leading to ambiguity. Little commercial incentive exists for vendors to make changing database suppliers easy. Oh no. There's also alternatives to SQL, but actually I've never heard of other things. We did hear MongoDB, right? Xquery, Tutorial D, QUEL? QBE, Query by Example, Object Query Language, LinQ, JavaScript, MongoDB, Java Persistence Query Language. There's no SQL. 4D Query Language, QL. So yeah, criticism. I like the criticism part. Design. SQL deviates in several ways from the theoretical foundation, the relational model, and its tuple calculus. In that model, a table is a set of tuple, while in SQL, table and query results are lists of rows. 맞아. They should figure out a better interface for this. They also have problem with orthogonality and completeness, null, duplicates, and impedance mismatch. So personally, when I used SQL, I remembered I hated the interface. When it returned in an ugly color. I don't know. I feel like as long as it's easy on the eyes, but it might be because I used the free program than actually buying the program. But I mean, it was for school. So results being said, this is the result. This query is bad. 자, so the results. Conclusion for SQL. I think personally this is the most useful language to learn if you're gonna do DB in DB, right? Do you guys agree with this? And I also think still need to work on interface. So if you want to create some useful tool, one of the most, you don't need SQL to work with DB. Oh, really? What do they use then? Still need to work on. You have to learn SQL if you work with DB. JSON based. Are we JSON based for Tweety? Oh, you have to learn SQL. Oh, question? I found it personally, at least that's what I learned. I think that's what they said. They said if you want to learn, or I know they like connected with each other, but I guess they can answer better, Jetty. I haven't actually worked in a field with DB. Oh, lots of healthcare places and hospitals use it. Yeah, I think I agree. SQL is easy to learn but hard to master. Ooh, a hot shot. I'm gonna take that. That's a good one. Ooh, I like that, man. That's a very good G. So guys, SQL is easy to learn. That's 2 E's. But hard to master. 오, 너무 이래서 똑똑한 사람들이 있는 게 좋다니, guys. I'm so happy you guys are so smart. Okay, most of the time. Cause I remember taking the exam, I felt the same way. Hi, Sid. Yeah, so many brain. Oh. It's hard to master when you have to take care with performance in large. Hi, Bear. Yeah, that's what I've noticed too. No, oh shoot, Esterato. Oh, you interned at IBM and now you're interning at Genrico. Did you know that there's lines of people wanting to join? I keep my numbers small. When will Jinri be like couple hundred viewers streamer, man? So yeah, I think this sums it all up. I like this one the most because when I tried learning SQL, it was easy. But if they wanted me to do some complex data finding or management using a lot of terms, it kind of got complicated, and you kind of have to think step by step on how to receive the data. Most of the time we're smart, and most of the time you're happy about it. No, most of the time I'm happy about you guys being smart. That's SQL for you guys. Do I like SQL? Like I said, I think it's fun. It's a good initiator, and trying to look into data, it would be interesting, but I still haven't figured out how it's being used. So in that term, I don't really like it because I never used SQL in real life scenario, like at work. So I'm not really sure how it's exactly being used, but I think it's a good tool to have. Anyways, that was SQL.